Mamma mia!
Buongiorno, manissimo. It's me. It's the best guy ever. How you doing, my paisans? I'm so happy to have you here with us for this episode, day 3 of the MIAMAFV. Hey, welcome. Welcome to my Italian place. I'm here with Mr. Meti, not the bad guy. How you doing, paisan?
I'm doing pretty okay. I can't do an Italian accent very well. I just.
As you can tell, mine is perfect. Mine is absolutely flawless. Quick question before we start. Are you Italian? How Italian are you?
How Italian is Irish?
Oh, God. You have to leave. You have to leave. You disgust me. Your bloodline is impure. Hey, everybody. So today, it's a different sort of episode of MIAMAFV than we've had up to now. Today we're going to be talking with our buddy Meti here about a subject that he's the expert on, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, expert doesn't even scratch the surface. I am the Jojo walking wiki page, except for I'm not shit.
That's true. And in particular, I wanted to talk about the only good part of all of JoJo, and that is the Italian restaurant visit from part 4 of JoJo. Let's go to an Italian restaurant.
Or let's go eat Italian. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. It's 4 chapters in the original manga, and it's like 0.9% of episode 10 of the new anime that just came out. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but I'm a massive fan of JoJo. I just don't bring it up that much because it's very normie to like JoJo now. It's way too popular, and that's a huge turnoff for me. So I've completely tuned it out from my radar for the most part.
Okay,
but the fact remains, I love JoJo and wanted to see this. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. The best way around that is just
I'm
talk
going to interrupt you constantly, so feel free to do so to me too.
The best way around that is just talk about all the non-anime only stuff.
That I like to talk about part 5 and 6. Not 5, because that's a little too close to the anime. The people are starting to be aware of 5. They're excited for it, and that disgusts me. But part 6 is gold, part 7 is gold, and all the spin-off stuff, that's good too.
I mean, I'll disagree with you on 6. Gold, if you spray painted shit gold, but yeah.
Well, well, you're objectively wrong, because part 6 fucking rules. But I mean, it's safe from the normos, at the very least.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's really the most important thing. That's more important to me than quality by a wide margin. So, did you read the chapter again? Because I know we both watched the anime episode. Okay, good, you did. Now, I have a storied history with this part of JoJo. My Paisan viewers out there, I don't know if you've watched JoJo yet or read these chapters, but these are some of like the highest levels of quirk that JoJo gets to. This is one of those, like, it's kind of like a one-off thing that isn't, it's not really sort of significant to the overall, like, storyline, but part 4 isn't really about that anyway. Part 4 is more vignettes, and at least, at the beginning, for the first half in particular. And this is, like, my favorite one of all time. I've got other chapters, like, I guess you'd call it, like, little mini arcs, like the little title thing that go on for 4 chapters, with, like,
mini arcs, yeah.
Yeah, and but this one is probably maybe my number 3 favorite of all time, but it's the one that has the least like plot relevancy. And not only that, but it single-handedly inspired my love for Italian food, which is as diverse as exactly one dish, which is the mozzarella with basil and all that shit. But anyway, let's actually get into it. So, you sound like you've got something to say. What do you want to start with here?
Oh, the thing I love so much about this episode is that if you're paying attention the entire time, nothing is a surprise to you, even if you're reading the manga. I mean, the manga, it carries itself a little differently. There's some parts about the manga that I prefer that they did in the anime. At least Tonio is less objectively shady in the anime than he is in the manga.
You think, I read them both back to back. I thought the shadiness was fairly consistent. I'm curious. Could you go into more specifics?
Okay,
what did he do? Yeah.
Specifically, I don't know how, are we just going all around the episode, or do we have to
go all around. Fuck these people. They don't matter. Yeah.
Specifically the ending part where in the anime, the way it's said is Tonio's like, oh, you've seen my secrets. and all this stuff. But in the manga itself, his phrasing comes off as way more shady as, oh, you've seen everything.
Right.
Because of what's happened to the dog instead of the recipe that he's given the dog. And
I noticed the anime at the beginning added that extra scene of what looks like him like butchering something, and like, you know, in the way that it's framed, it looks like he's like a murderer or something. But you know, obviously, that's an additional scene just to kind of add to the thing.
And another great segment about this is that when it comes to Okuyasu and his stomachache during the last or the ending part of this, we notice that Tonio has cured all of his ailments except for his clogged intestines.
Right.
So this is why, and then he also makes mention that he can't eat spicy food, so when he finally finishes the spicy dish, he starts to have a stomachache, which is due to his intestines being clogged. And like, neat little things like that, people probably wouldn't get because it comes off as maybe it's the attack of Pearl Jam instead of the intestines being clogged due to the spicy food, and that's what I loved about this, because Tonio's the real first red herring in JoJo.
It's, what I absolutely love about this whole thing is how it's sort of like a weird, like, red herring horror chapter about eating Italian food with, like, aspects of, like, Guro involved, and it's so quirky. It's so quirky, just like me and my MySpace page and all the emojis I put on it. Just like me. This chapter is just like me with my deep Italian heritage. I'm 1/4 Italian, so I'm objectively superior.
Oh, so like some neat details about Tonio that come up later in future parts that he makes mention of the pasta recipe that he makes, the whore's pasta or the harlot's pasta.
Right.
And,
I love the way that he, that the entire recipe is spelled out for us with the ingredients and shit. Fucking Araki, dude. He
loves Italy. Like,
I know that's his jam. He's obsessed with it. Is this the first time that Italy really comes up?
This is the first big Italy thing. This is when we start to realize that he's a bit of an Italia boo.
I guess, except for part 2, which they spend a lot of time in Italy.
I mean, sorta. Italy isn't a big deal in part 2 because it's approaching World War II Italy because that's like Joseph apparently the first American JoJo goes to all of the annexed powers.
He's a fucking hero, dude. I love the way that like Japanese people have a much more sympathetic view of Nazis and the Axis powers in general. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, like there's a much more like. Not almost a fetishization of like Italian culture going on here. The way that fucking Tonio goes on about like, oh, the magic of the Italians, we discovered how to use tomato in cooking, and like we sow our fucking noodles in the north, and we fumigate them in the south, and we combine them in the middle, and we make the perfect food ever.
Prior to this, Tonio is one of the first like true stand users. He didn't get his stand through any arrow, through any bullshit. He didn't inherit it because of Dio. He was so goddamn good at cooking that he just made a stand, which doesn't change the taste of the food either, I should mention. That Pearl Jam does not affect the taste of the food. Its ability is purely using the ingredients and the quality of the food made to heal the body. So every great tasting dish that he makes is not like powered up by Pearl Jam. He's just that good of a cook.
What a legend. What a fucking legend.
Love Tonio.
I really love Tonio. Yeah, he's like the coolest guy in the world. So when I was first reading this chapter, way many years ago, I really wanted to have the same sort of experience of like eating this kind of magical food. Like this is a chapter that you read and it doesn't feel like a chapter out of like a battle manga at all. It's a total like, and I also like the way that like no stands are even like pulled out, even when it's like time to like face down the person who looks like he's like currently murdering Okuyasu. Josuke still doesn't pull out his stand. It kind of like this maintains that sort of like low power level horror vibe of like, oh, we don't know what's going on in the situation. We could die at any time. And the way that like Tonio like gets the upper hand on him for a moment when he's got that soap at the end and he looks like he's gonna fucking clean his clock with it. Oh my god, clean his clock with the soap. Yes. Yes. I like the tone is so different, and I really like that JoJo really is quite liberal with the tone all the time, and it's one of the reasons that it's such an enjoyable series to read. It's not just like a boring battle manga.
Yeah, JoJo will always throw you a curveball, and that's one of the most interesting things about it.
For sure, for sure.
And the way David Productions handled this episode, it was handled with lots of care. I loved it because of the difference you get from going from manga to anime is significant. And if you're not going to try to make that difference, which I will argue that David Productions did kind of fall on that, or fail on that a little bit when they were doing the Stardust Crusaders, they're handling Diamond is Unbreakable really well. And this episode, it's perfection.
You know, I did think that all, like, the important moments were very well animated. My favorite shot in the whole episode was when, and this was like this was like a new thing specific to the anime, when Okuyasu is freaking out slurping the noodles. There's like this one shot of him like going like, ooh, and leaning back and slurping, and the noodles are like flying everywhere all over the shot. It looks like a tentacle monster, and it's got this like, horror-y aspect of a guy just eating some fucking noodles, and I really liked that. And that because I had just read the chapter, that was a new shot. So like that's them like understanding the tone. This is basic shit, but that's them like understanding the tone that's supposed to be conveyed, and like coming up with new shots that add to that, not just panel for panel trying to copy the manga. They're developing new things and coming up with new stuff. That's really important and really good.
They also changed the way that certain information is displayed, like the information about the reason why he moved to Moria, which is covered later in a Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe episode. This is what they're called, but when he's talking about the reason here is it's like we have fresh-grown fruit just out there, and there's wonderful sea life right here, and he makes mention of that at the beginning of the episode, where he makes mention of that at the end of the manga chapter, or the manga arc.
Do you feel that was more advantageous to do it that way? Maybe just for the anime?
Definitely helped make him seem a lot less shady.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I particularly liked, on the theme of, like, not looking shady, I really love the juxtaposition that's going on in these chapters and in the episode, where, and they both really nailed this. Like, as the music turns, or, like, as these, like, gory things are happening to Okuyasu, as he's, he eats the food, and he, like, explodes, and from whatever orifice, is appropriate at the moment, he is saying out loud things like, oh, I feel weird, but I'm totally okay. And, like, he's insisting that he's okay, while Josuke is the one freaking out and, like, is really spazzing out. And it's like the way that the shots are constructed and, like, the tone is set to look horrifying. But, if you really pay attention, nothing really ever gets that far out of control. And the second that it looks like it's going to go over the tipping point, that's exactly when, Tonio walks in and, like, undercuts the tension of the scene. And Okuyasu, like, just says, like, oh, no, I'm actually fine. I rubbed off, like, a metric fuck ton of dirt off my shoulder and skin and shit. I'm fucking perfect now. I'm the strongest man in the world.
My shoulders are really like a balloon.
Yeah. I read the Duong scans. They were fucking great.
Oh, great.
That's the kind of, like, two tones that can work really well together for a crazy series like JoJo. It's really good shit. That's, like, my favorite thing about JoJo in general.
Yeah, it feels like he was going for a mixture of social horror and regular horror in a battle action manga.
Yeah.
Like, they're at a restaurant where if they were really feeling shady or feeling like shit was going down, they have the option of just getting up and going away.
Yep.
Like, that's the first thing that Josuke makes mention of is that, hey, Okuyasu, if this food tastes even a little bad, let's ditch him and not pay.
It's that feeling, though, of, like, so Josuke feels this tension of, like, oh, there's weird shit going on, but Okuyasu is a fucking idiot, and, even if there was something actually insidious happening, which I understand why, Josuke felt that way, like, there would be no way to convince this guy, because he just wants to eat, and, like, even if Josuke said something, like, Okuyasu would probably interpret that as, like, bitterness and, like, not getting the food, or, like, he'd rationalize whatever way he needs to, like, no, I want to eat this food, so it's like, at the very least, Josuke can bail, but Okuyasu is, like, in danger here, and he's worried about his friend, and, like, there's nothing he can do to convince him. I mean, I guess he could overpower him if it really came down to it, but that'd be tough.
It leaves a very interesting aspect where you can read this from the perspective of both the Josuke and Okuyasu as you go through. Like, most viewers will probably come into this reading this from Josuke's perspective of what the fuck.
I think the first time you read it, you'll definitely feel that way, yeah.
And then reading it again from Okuyasu's perspective, it's really interesting.
Yeah, like the differences in tone. I remember the first time I read it, I read the manga, of course. I was absolutely losing my shit. at like the disgusting things that happen. And you know that's actually one thing that's it's not like a detriment to the story. Like it's that I was a little disappointed that like the powers that Tonio had turned out to be stand related. Like I know it's Jojo, but I liked the idea that they're like in Jojo, is it not totally believable that there like is a spring somewhere like produces water that's so delicious that it like will make you cry and just rehydrate your eyes perfectly? To me, that sounds like a very Jojo thing.
I mean, yeah, it's a very Jojo thing, and the most interesting thing about that is most of Tonio's ability are just his ability, his cooking, his ability to read people. The only thing that is the food that he's...
I don't think I understand. I think that I perhaps have some misunderstanding about exactly what Pearl Jam is doing in this equation.
The only thing Pearl Jam is doing is kicking up the healing qualities of the food to like the 10th, like...
Okay.
Going to 11 out of 5.
Right. So like an actual tooth being regrown.
Because like as Tonio mentioned, like some of the food does have a healing quality. He's gone all across the country, all across the world, not the country, figuring out new shit about food, and you figure out that it is originally to heal people, so he was always looking into the healing, because...
Yeah, okay. See, that's the good stuff. Okay, I'm glad that that's been clarified for me. So it still has... basically the thing that I like. It's like a dude who, like, man, Antonio, like we were saying before, he is like the best person in the world. He is so humble, but like all he wants to do with his life is serve customers delicious food that makes them feel better. And I gotta say, it's such a giant pet peeve of mine. Oh my god, I wanted to fucking kill Josuke at the beginning of this chapter when they're like, oh, this guy's health conscious? He wants to serve food that's healthy? Probably gonna taste like shit. I want to fucking kill this dude when he says that kind of shit. Because people prioritize taste way too fucking high. Okay, quick aside. I once saw a fucking cooking show where that exact same shit, it was Chopped. It was an episode of Chopped, and there were like 3 people that were brought on. 2 were like, one was like a barbecue guy, one was, I don't know, some like maybe like sweets lady, and then the other one was like a health food woman. And the fucking trash talk they heaped on this like priority health cooking woman whose goal is to make people's lives better was so fucking intense, and everyone knew like immediately, nah, she's gone. There's no way this bitch can compete in like a real man's cooking arena where all we give a fuck about is how things taste. Man, fuck those people. Fuck all of you. Go to hell. Tonio gets it. Tonio understands, man.
Tonio's so like much. His driving passion is to heal people, which we find out later in Thus Spoke Rohon Kishibe episode 7 that it's because his wife or his lover, it has a fucking like, I think it's like a grapefruit-sized tumor in her brain.
Oh shit.
and he wants to heal her by giving her like the greatest meal.
How's that going, incidentally? How's that work out?
He does it after the help.
Yeah.
I recommend everyone read that. I recommend everyone read all the Thus Spoke Rohon Kishibe. Get on it, you anime only fags. But seriously, he's able to get the dish, and she's able to walk again, because she was bound to a wheelchair because the tumor was getting so bad.
Yeah, okay.
We get a nice ending for Tonio, and we learn more and more about how his ability works and how he needs higher quality food to cure higher threatening diseases. Like, if we think about it, he could have maybe solved the whole Kira thing by fixing his serial killer brain.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh God. Okay. We just got into like a pretty deep issue of like, what does it mean to like be healthy? Like, what quantitative analysis can we perform on the human brain to constitute healthy? Of course, as a society, we all agree that a healthy mind would be one that doesn't go around murdering women and just collecting their hands for a while until they start to smell. But can we really say that that is the definition of health? Yes. Yes, we can.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. I think even Valentine would agree that that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Well, what the fuck do you mean, Valentine? Valentine is a fucking American hero who did no wrong.
So
Valentine
of course
did nothing wrong,
we had to base all of our lives and worth on how Valentine would have lived his life. If you don't live a life like Valentine, then you're just gotta go.
Well, he had the best life, so yeah, that's sounds good to me. Marry a lesbian, check. I don't know. That's it. And then
become
I don't know,
the
become
fucking
Jesus.
president.
Become the win the Civil War single-handedly, and then become fucking president.
Replace
ABC,
your
folks.
heart with Jesus's heart.
Yeah, become fully Christ conscious, and there you go, and then you win.
And then get shot to death by a crippled. But well,
not canon. That's not canon. That didn't happen. That was in one of so many universes. In so many universes, he was president forever. Those are the ones I like. I love that in the other universes, like, instead of the corpse part, there's, like, fucking diamonds, as if those are, like, equivalent in value.
There's so much shit with D4C that thinking about it makes my head hurt.
Let's see. Anything else to say about Tonio? I love him. He's my best friend. I want to be his son.
Also,
that's
read
what I've
Purple
got.
Haze feedback, because if you like Tonio...
I know you're a big fan.
Yes, I fucking love that so much. 20-minute video on it. It goes even further into Tonio, and it kind of gives us an alternative to who Tonio could have been if he did end up being a bad guy, and his brother, which also implies that Tonio's stand may not be natural, but I like to ignore that because there's a whole thing about the arrows and how they work, and that's a big fucking mess. But a lot of this could be hinting at Araki's love of Italy, his love of Italian food, and that's why the best part takes place in Italy, but...
Is part 5 your favorite part?
Part 5 is the best part.
I'd have to think about that. I think part 4 is my favorite part.
Yeah.
I'd go with part 4 or part 7, I think. One of those two.
Those are both okay choices.
Whatever. I don't want to get into a fucking dick measuring contest about which part we like better. We're adults here. We understand that we have tastes, and mine are correct and that yours are incorrect. So we can move past that.
Anyone who disagrees with me is wrong, and therefore we are both adults.
Exactly. Okay. Thanks for joining me. Hey, paisanos. Thank you for listening to episode 3 of MIAMAFV. We'll be back tomorrow with something else. Thank you, Mr. Meti, for joining me on this Italian excursion. Everybody say goodbye. Ciao.
Bye, Shimonetta. Funimation.com/show/Shimonetta. Boring word with a constant dirty jokes doesn't exist. I gotta get my shillin'. I don't make any money from this. I just want people to buy it.
I know you do, dude. I know you do.